we are going to wind this down with the final question of what is the power of seven and why are we calling it the seven whys? Al and I, we had this discussion a little bit in the back room before that this exercise is built by, actually go ahead, Al, you explained it. The Nobel winner
Richard Feynman won his Nobel. They asked him, "How did you win the Nobel Prize?" And he said, "By asking why over and over again." For him, it was 5.
Right.
And he said, "You get to the deepest truths in nature by just asking why over and over again." That repeated process is the secret to winning, to knowing something deeply. Really. And that was, and you don't have to be a mathematician or a chemist or a physicist, or it's not the kind of thing that you, and pre-verbally, children ask, what is it that makes children stop asking this question? I don't understand. On that day that they stop asking this question, they're not children anymore.
Right.
And that's the shame of it. That's an unfortunate aspect of the loss of innocence in childhood, is you stop asking this question over and over and over again. It comes naturally to kids.
Right.
And if you follow Richard Feynman and go look at, he is like a 9-year-old the guy lived the life of a 9-year-old and won a Nobel Prize in physics.
It's incredible. And yeah, so we were talking about that. And what I effectively did with this and a little bit extra research was I added 2 more whys to this 5 why system. And the reason why I added these 2 more whys was simply because, number one, we have to dig for a deeper meaning. There's still something that drives us. There's still something that pushes and guides us. And, Baruch and I, one of the exercises that we did was the 7 whys. And it, Baruch had helped, Baruch said that it helped him tremendously. Baruch, what was the last why? What was the last question? What was the 7th, in a sense?
You're asking the question or the answer? Because I don't remember the question, but I remember the answer.
Go ahead. What was the answer of the 7th question? What were we trying to get to with the 7 whys?
Because this is who God created me to be, and it's who you are at your core. It's everything, and it's really, like Al was saying, it's not what you do. It's who you truly are at the very core, and it's something that's been covered over through years and through exposure and through all this other stuff that's going on. But that's what it is. It's that exactly. End of the day, that true essence. And that's, again, coming from an educator's standpoint, when you're dealing with kids, but also as a spouse, as a partner, as a parent, as a sibling, you always have to try and ask, who is this person really at their core? And what is all that stuff that's kind of covering over them? And how do we remove that? Why are they behaving that way? Why did they say that thing to me that way? What, in a way, we always have to take ownership over any interaction, positive or negative, not taking blame, but we have to take ownership to really understand it. But that, to me, that was the biggest thing there, was that with that exercise, when we got to number 7, where my response was, because this is who God created me to be, that makes it definitive. That makes it solid. I'm blanking on the words, but that is what kind of seals the deal. Like all that you've led up to, I want to do this, and this is what I'm going to do, and here's why, and here's why. Well, why? It's because it's who God created me to be. But this is it. Like that is, it's the stamp. It's the seal of approval. It's the seal that we need to say, like, this is the focus. Because if you have that, if you can get to the end of those whys, you can get so clearly defined as to the type of person you are, and that underlying understanding, and then go a different direction. There's something else you got to work on.
Right.
Critical. I mean, it's also the basis of your partnership, isn't it? I mean, that's where the whole partnership came from.
Yeah, actually, it was through the 7 whys that Baruch and I did that we like, I just said, wow, that is such a profound, journey, and how he got to his, well, this is what God created me for. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to join in on this journey. I have a similar why, and I would love to collaborate together, and I would love to do work together. And that's ultimately it. When you have these 7 whys very well defined in your team, in your family, in your life, in your anything, that people just buy in out of inspiration, not motivation, but out of inspiration. they're so inspired by what you're doing, and it's just this like, well, why else am I here? Like, why else am I on this planet Earth for? And when you have that buy-in, when you have that loyalty, then you practically have anything you want, and that's ultimately what the seven whys is all about. And why I added the two more whys is to ultimately get to that final answer of like, well, there's no other why. There's just nothing else, other than this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm born for.